Okay, so right now at this very moment, we want to go to Cape Town, South Africa, and it's a beautiful moment. It's a nice time whereby we want to listen to our Jaja, the gentleman who has been in business for over 40 years of experience. He has changed so many people's lives. I think one thing that I can use to describe him is that he really has a big heart filled with love, and he really loves and treasures distributors. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to hand over to our mentor, our judge, Mike Van-Deventor, all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. Mike, you can take it on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Justice. Sorry, what a privilege to be with you. I always say it would have been so much nicer to be with you physically. But fortunately, these days we have the opportunity of electronically at least being with each other. And it is such a privilege for me to be associated with you. I'm so proud of the team Lion Kings and what the leaders do and have done to put everything in place to help you just make a success of the business. And I want to congratulate you for everything that you achieved in the past year. I'm not going to mention specific things. I know your conventions, your trip to Zanzibar, people who stepped up. That is so wonderful to see. It really warms my heart. And thank you for the opportunity of sharing with you this evening. I'm going to just talk from my heart because, you know, at the beginning of a new year, we always tend to look back and we look forward. But if I look back over the past 40 plus years that we've been in this business, I'm so thankful that our business is such a beautiful business. It is such a beautiful business. Now, sometimes there are people within our business who spoil the business a bit. But that happens anywhere. That happens in churches everywhere. But the business itself is so beautiful because, firstly, it's an equal opportunity for all. You know, you don't need to have specific qualifications to become part of the business and to become successful in the business. I've seen people from all walks of life, people who've not even finished primary school, become president's team members and live a wonderful lifestyle. So that is such an attractive thing about our business, because it doesn't matter where people come from. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what somebody lacks when they come into the business. There's support, there's mentorship, one can learn, you can grow into what you need to be and do. And then, of course, there are no limits. You know, in a job situation, you would all know there's a limit. Your salary gives you that much and no more. And even if you worked harder, you're not necessarily going to earn more money. And then a job doesn't give you security. But in your life, as it builds up, there is really no limit to how big it can become, how far you can grow, how much money you can make. Because as it grows, it as it were, grows on organically without your direct input. In other words, it grows beyond what you can contribute personally. And that is such a powerful concept. And you know what really drew me to be in the business? Because before I was in church ministry, I was never going to do anything else. That was my mission in life. But what happened, while our children were still small, we had three, they weren't in school yet, the fourth one arrived, and even with our 4 children not yet in school, my salary just wasn't enough. Halfway through the month, we ran out of money. And that is when we were introduced to Neolife. And we got involved in Neolife, not because I thought there is a career in it for me, because I wasn't going to do anything else than being a minister in the church. But, eventually I saw how good this business is for people. And I realized that you don't have to just work in the confines of the church to serve God. You can serve God in the marketplace as well. Because there's not just the spiritual side to people. There's the financial side, there's the psychological side, there's the social side. And what I so enjoy about this business, it addresses all of those in the course of the training, in the course of what you pick up while you're busy with the business. So, and what I most like is that our success is built on the success of other people. There are things in Cape Town, and maybe you have it there in Uganda. There's a huge drug problem with gangs that fight drug wars, and it's just terrible. Now, that's making money out of other people's misery. And so much in life is like that. You get these Ponzi schemes, these pyramid schemes that promise people the world, and in the end, people lose fortunes. Our business is the direct opposite. And that is why I believe God's blessing is on what we do, because what we do is good for people if we do it the right way and with the right attitude. So, sorry, there's an interruption. Sorry, there was an interruption on my phone. Here at the start of a new year, you may look back and feel a bit disappointed about not achieving all the goals and everything that you wanted in 2023. That happens. I have goals that I never achieved last year. But it's no good beating yourself up about what didn't happen and what you didn't achieve. That's behind us. Leave it behind you. What we have is a new year with new opportunities. And just as mentioned, the incentives from the team, but also from Neolife, there are such exciting incentives. There's so many things that can happen. So look forward to the new year with new vigor and new determination. When you don't reach, or if you haven't reached the goals you've set, don't change the goal. Don't minimize the goal. Change your plans. Change what you do. There are basically 4 things that we need to look at if we want to change. And we all sometimes or often need to make adjustments. The first thing is we've got to ask ourselves, what things am I doing that I should stop doing? That is hindering me. That's standing in the way of me achieving my goals. What should I stop doing? Then the second question is, what should I start doing? Maybe you're overweight and you're unfit. You need to start on a program of getting physically in a better shape. So you need to ask yourself, what should I start doing that I haven't been doing that will help me achieve more this year than I did last year? Then the third question to ask yourself is, what should I do less of? You don't necessarily have to stop doing everything else and now it's just Neolife. But there are some things that we may have been doing which isn't bad in itself, but we do too much of it, which takes away time and effort that we could have put into our dreams and into our business. And the fourth thing is then, what should I do more of? You know, our big thing is talking to people. And maybe most of us need to set a goal to talk to more people, to attend training more regularly, whatever. So these four questions: what should I stop doing? What should I start doing? What should I do less of? And what should I do more of to have a different outcome by the end of 2024 than I had at the end of the last year? And you know, that is one of the wonderful things, that we as human beings can grow, we can change, we can get better. And that is such an important part of our business. In fact, it's an important part of our work. You know, the daily success habits include personal growth. That's part of our work. It's not just something we say that sounds nice and that somehow looks good. It requires work. It requires us to really work towards getting ourselves into a better situation, whether that be physically, spiritually, in our relationships, our skills, whatever it is. That is part of our work. And that is where we have to focus on. Some things we've got to cut out and do less of. Other things we maybe have to start and do more of. You know, when COVID came, I stopped going to the gym. And for a long time, I haven't gone to the gym. Now, at my age, you start getting weaker quicker than when one is young. And I just had to start disciplining myself to start going back to the gym and start building a new routine. Something that I stopped doing that I should have been doing, because the fitter you are, the stronger you are, the better you can do with everything else. That's just an example. Now, the other thing that challenges us, which is it's actually a positive, and that is that we can be our own boss. You know, when I started ministering in church, the one thing I really wished was that I had enough money to go to the church council and say to them, listen, I'll do this and this and this, but if you want me to do that, pay somebody else and tell him to do it. But I couldn't, based on the English proverb, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So I had to do things that I didn't feel equipped to do as a young person, things that I didn't like doing, but I had no choice. So I always dreamt of being my own boss and being an independent operator. And that would never have happened had it not been for Neolife. Today I can do work in the church. I don't expect to get paid for it. And they can't tell me what to do. But, you know, being your own boss brings a challenge with it. Because most people, when you've been working for a boss all your life, you are used to being pushed and given orders and told what to do and when to do it and how to do it. But when you work for yourself, you are the boss. That's the good news, but that could also be the bad news, because now you've got to discipline yourself. You've got to plan. You've got to work. You've got to build a routine. I remember when I decided to leave the church ministry, I got a different job in a different city, not a big city, called East London in the Eastern Cape. And we went there. I knew nobody there. That's not true. I knew two people. The one was in the business. There wasn't much happening, not in my downline. And the other one was going to be my boss where I was going to work. So I wasn't going to invite him to the business. I couldn't invite the other one. So we moved there for me now to really start going in the business. But I knew nobody. I had to dig for names everywhere. But I had this discipline. I got home from work. I would eat. I would spend a little bit of time with the family, and I'd be on the phone, phoning people, reaching out to people, setting up meetings, doing one-on-ones. And slowly it started growing. But I had to make myself work because I was now the boss. And that is still true. And that is true of you as well. You're in a team, in a big organization, but actually you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that's the beauty of our whole setup. You're not by yourself. You have a lot of support, but it's up to you to make use of it. You know, there are events, there are incentives, there are trainings, but those would mean nothing if you don't make use of it. There are books I don't want to say to read. It's one thing to read a book. It's another thing to study a book. There are books to study. There are things that you can watch on YouTube. John Maxwell on leadership, for instance. All those things are there, but you've got to use that and maximize the benefit you can get from that. Now, the other point I want to make is that if we want to grow this year, we will only grow by bringing in new people. Sometimes we have some old people in the business who've been in a long time, and they're not growing, and they probably won't grow. So don't sit around waiting for old people to bring new growth. New growth will only come from new people. And that starts with you as it does for me. The growth that my team, my personal team needs starts with me. So our big work is to reach out to people and talk to people. Now, the fact is we need people to grow our business. We need people as customers. We need people as distributors. But listen to this. People are not going to respond to what we need. They're not going to buy from us because we need the PV. They're not going to join the business because we need to step up. People are not going to respond to our needs. They will only respond to their own needs. And our biggest mistake we can make is to look at people for what they can do or should do for us. No, we should get into a relationship with people. Maybe it's somebody you don't know very, very well. Ask them questions. I found that most people like talking about themselves. Now, obviously, you're not going to ask somebody, hey, are you broke? How much money have you got in the bank? Do you fight in your marriage? Not that kind of question. But if you say to somebody that you meet, what do you do for a living? They'll tell you. And depending on what they say, you might find the opportunity to say, well, you're lucky to have such a job. You must be making a lot of money in that position. And the person might say to you, well, actually, no. Yeah, really? No, I thought people working in the bank make lots of money. And so you explore by asking questions listening to what people say. Don't talk too much. Listen more to people. Let them tell you about themselves, their family, their children. They may say to you, we've got 5 children, and man, the school fees are killing us. There you see a need where you can step in and say, I can so relate to what you're saying because I was in the same situation. But you know what? I discovered an opportunity where I could, on a part-time basis, start making some extra money. And these days, paying school fees is not a problem for me anymore. Would you be interested in finding out more? So look for people's needs. It may be a health need. It may be a need for belonging to a group, a positive group. It might be a direct financial need, whatever. That is what will draw people to you and to listen to you. And then when you present to people, if you're going to do it personally on a one-on-one basis, never talk too much. Keep it simple. And if you're new, rather try and get the person to a Zoom meeting or with your upline or with a meeting where they can get a better view of the business than you might at the stage where you are. But don't run away from the responsibility of talking to people about the business. You won't do it very well in the beginning, probably, but you learn through your mistakes. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Just learn from them and carry on. The more you do, the better you'll get. Now, the fact is that not everybody who have needs and who express their needs will accept our solution for their needs. They might not want to take our products. They might not want to look at our opportunity. And I know that can be very frustrating, especially if you're running to do a 3 and 30 and it's the last 2-3 days of the month and you still need one person and that one person just doesn't respond to what you offer. But we've got to accept that no one thing is for everyone. No one thing is for everyone. For instance, I know that we've got doctors in the team. My own daughter is a doctor and she's married to a doctor. That's the last thing I would want to be, is to be a doctor. It's a good thing that there are doctors. That's for other people. It's not for me. So we must accept it that our business is not for everybody. And when people decline or turn their back on what we do, don't allow that to make you demotivate, to drain your enthusiasm and energy. Years ago, we had a saying, SW, SW, SW. Some will, some won't, so what? It's just the fact of life. We're not going to get everybody to do what we're doing. And not everybody who gets involved is going to move to the top in our business either. That is why we have to keep adding new people. That is why the 3 and 30 incentive is so good. I'm not sure, I couldn't follow too clearly when Justice was explaining about the manager, senior manager, and executive manager, whether that was explaining the company incentive or the team incentive. But for getting to see executive manager, if we're talking about the company incentive, the 6 people you've got to sponsor isn't necessarily 6 people in that month. It might be the 2 that you sponsored on the way to director, and 2 on not director, to manager, another 2 to senior manager, and another 2 to executive manager. That's a total of 6 people. So be clear on those incentives, and just realize that we need new people all the time. I've seen it in my own business. Being so long in the business, I've got people who physically died, who are just not around anymore. And then there are people they've just become tired. So you need a new group and a new younger generation in your business, and that starts with you. But then it is so important that we don't just bring people into the business and hope for the best. We've got to mentor them and be there for them. Now, if you're new and you say, well, I don't know the business that well, I don't know what I can do. If you're a manager, you know more than a new distributor. If you're a senior manager, you know more than a manager. Take what you've learned and apply that, and make sure you bring your new people into the system, where the system can help you educate and work with people. It is so important. Years ago, I played a little bit of chess. I was never very good at it because I never gave much attention to it. And the other day, my one son and myself decided, well, we should start playing chess. For one thing, something like that helps your brain development. And if you get older, like we all are, I'm just older than you, you need to keep your brain active. And so I downloaded a chess program from one of these chess masters and started going through the basics. And I thought, whoa, I'll have to really learn here because, certain pieces move in a certain way. Some only move on the white blocks, some only move on the black blocks, some move in certain directions. It is all complicated. You can't just go and sit down and start playing chess. But sometimes we sponsor people and we expect them to start playing the game as if they're professionals. No, it is our responsibility to nurture new people, to bring them up. The biggest thing is that when people are new, they're very, very vulnerable in the business. We saw a statistic the other day at the PT meeting. I'm sorry, I should have looked that up to give it to you exactly. But what it says is that if a new person earns even a small amount of money in the first month, they're much more likely to stay than if they only start earning money 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road. And the other statistic is that if somebody in their first, say, 6 months have sponsored at least 3 people, their chances of staying in the business is just so much higher than if they've been in the business a whole year and they haven't sponsored one person. So it is our job to protect and guide and nurture our new people. We can't do the work for them, but we've got to make sure that when they face disappointment, we're there to tell them, hey, this is how it is. This business isn't for everybody. Some will, some won't. So what? Just keep moving. So In that process, we build relationships with people. And in the end, the relationships are the cement of our business. And that is why one of the most important things we've got to do in terms of personal development is to make sure that we become a more attractive person all the time. Somebody that people can trust, somebody that people can like, somebody that people come to for counseling and wisdom because we've got the wisdom. It is so important that we are trustworthy and likable because people do business with people they like and trust. I've seen people lose big in this business because they were the opposite of that. They may have got big teams together through the sheer energy and push, 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 push. But then as people discover the lack of integrity, the lack of caring, they start dropping out. So the last point I want to make is that means that we need to think long term because trust doesn't come just like that. Trust has got to be earned. People need to learn to trust and like you. You need to learn to know people and understand them and support them. And the more we build relationships, the more our business will grow. And that requires us to keep reminding ourselves of the company's principles: honesty, sincerity, caring. Because we're not going to suddenly sponsor 6 or 10 people and be a 5-diamond director just because we've sponsored 10 people. It takes time to build a business. And sometimes we put in the effort and we don't see the results. And that can be demotivating. Average people would then start slowing down and in the end just stop and drop out. But the truth is, when we do the work and we don't see the results, the key to success is to just do more work and more work. Because in the process, we get better and better. And in the process, we get to those people that we really, in the first place, wanted in our business, but they were down the road. They were not around the first corner. But if we quit just after the first corner, we miss the people down the road. So if you, like myself, look at this new year and you say, well, we've got to do better this year. We've got to achieve more. I want to tell you we can. If we put our minds to it, if we commit, if we're disciplined, if we also discipline our disappointment. Discipline your disappointment. You are going to be disappointed along the way. But as I said earlier on, don't let that get you down. And work together in the team and as a team. And I know and I really expect great things to happen in Team Lion Kings this year as we go into the new year. Because based on what has been put in place over the last number of years and the last year, you are now on a higher plateau than you were last year this time. So I hope to see you a little bit later on in the year, possibly around about April. I really look forward to that because I miss not being with you and not being able to touch you and see you and just laugh and sometimes cry with you. So with those thoughts, I just want to encourage you to forget what wasn't in the past year and what maybe didn't work. Find out what could work and go and go. Because the more we do, the more enthusiastic we will become. The less we do, the less our motivation becomes. So once again, I'm so happy that you are part of the team Lion Kings. It is really a team that is doing so much to support all of you. And as I say, I really look forward to what I can see as an explosion that will come from Team Lion Kings in the new year. So with that, Justice, thank you for the opportunity of sharing with you, and my love and my best wishes go with you as we go into the new year.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Mike, for taking off this time to share with us your wisdom that you've been able to gather for all these 40 years, and hoping to guide us to see how we can start off this year well. I think my take home for today is we need to sponsor new people if we are going to grow and actually succeed in this business. So thank you so much for all this sharing. And to everyone that has been, who was on this call, I want to congratulate you for having attended. The recording will be out shortly. I encourage us to listen to this over and over and over again. You know, usually when someone who has been in this meeting for over 40 years speaks, it's very important that you listen attentively over and over again so that you do not miss out anything that has been shared. So thank you so much, Mike. And tomorrow at exactly 1:30 at Imperial Hotel is going to be our kickoff meeting. It's going to be the kickoff meeting at the Imperial Hotel. I encourage all of us to be there by 1:30 so that we can be able to start off the year with a big bang. And let's make sure that we come with a friend. Each one of us on this call, make it a point to attend in person, and then also make it a point that you come with at least a minimum of 5 friends so that you can be able to have some people to actually start with you as you start off the year. So thank you so much, and have a blessed evening.